Welcome to Faith, Fiction, and Folklore, or as we like to call it, the TryF podcast, where we try not to mess the podcast up. And today, we are going to start off with talking about Jay Dyer's interview with Ruslan and the esoteric nature of Hollywood and the CIA's involvement of Hollywood. And then we are going to transition into the Starbucks Antichrist, the Mahdi, or Mahadib, or I don't care. Basically some Muslim guy pretending that he's like the savior of the Islamic nation or something, but he really sounds like he came out of California. So we'll talk about those two things and then move on to the last part of the live stream. So with that said, Cody, how you doing so far this evening?
All is well.
All is well. Mr.
Yep.
Trevor, how's the live stream treating you?
All is well that ends well.
All is well that ends well. Okay.
We don't know if it's going to end well, though.
It could all burn in flames. My mind could go blank, and we could be sitting here for an hour in total silence.
True.
But let's be optimists. So, all right, here's Jay Dyer talking about the esoteric nature of Hollywood.
Okay. And then, so around the same time, you finish your degree in, was it philosophy and
I did
literature?
my undergrad, in philosophy and history, and then
Philosophy
I
and
started
history,
grad school focusing on psychological warfare in film and how symbolism is used to propagandize in pop culture.
Okay.
So I was in my grad work on that, was doing a grad thesis on that and how James Bond is used in the Cold War
Right.
for that. So that's what kind of got me in this mode of writing a lot about film.
Yep.
And that's what my blog started out. It was just like Hollywood movie symbolism. That was it. And then it expanded into other topics and things that I was interested in just because I was like, I can't just talk about movies all the time. It drives me crazy. It's too monotonous.
Yeah.
So, I'd write essays about philosophy, and then I'd write an essay about geopolitical stuff. And then eventually that led to a book, and then it led to accidentally actually debates, which was not something I ever had planned to do.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was all accidental.
Yeah. So you got two books that are out, Esoteric Hollywood Part 2, and then the third one's coming out this July.
Yeah, and a philosophy book. So I got
Philosophy books. And you go from...
Audio has a new feature that just blew my mind. You can take a
I
link
don't
from a
care.
YouTube
Hey, look,
video and plug it
an
into
ad.
their new
It's
Link
an
Mesh
ad.
AI.
writing about this stuff as an undergrad into on your master's to really picking apart the symbolism. But from your perspective, it sounds like, if I'm tracking correctly, the symbols weren't just used as propaganda for the Cold War. They sound like they become more darker in some of these films, where we're now dealing with full-on occult stuff.
Right.
Was there a specific shift that happened in Hollywood where it went from like, we're going to use James Bond, superhero, America's great, to like, no, we're going to start diving in some of this more occult imagery?
Yes, I would say after the 60s counterculture revolution, you have some avant-garde filmmakers who were self-professed Satanists like Kenneth Anger. They were very into Crowley. He's a famous Skittles avant-garde icon of...
By the way, I just want to say I love Skittles. We're taking that. We usually say LG TV because all of our TVs are LG TV. Skittles is brilliant. Keep going. I'm sorry.
And Anger was like in the circles of the Rolling Stones and hanging out with like people from the Church of Satan, Anton LaVey, that kind of stuff, which I know that's not theistic Satanism. It's just kind of atheism with
It's like they're like trolling
costumes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I just want to point out, what's the through line with all these different groups? Who started the counterculture? CIA. Who started the Church of Satan? CIA. It's almost like there's a theme. Just throwing that out there.
The theme of CIA.
there are sides and groups that do.
What'd you say, Trevor?
The theme of CIA.
The theme of the CIA. Remember your ink block test. The answer is always CIA.
Take it seriously.
Yeah.
And
Or they start kind of trolling,
Yeah.
and then all
Get
of a
serious,
sudden, we had
right.
Shane Smith on, and that was his journey. He was like, oh, just kind of playing around and being silly, and then it's like, now
Got
we're
serious.
full on
Yeah,
dabbling
right.
with witchcraft and
Yeah.
dark forces. Yeah.
And I kind of inadvertently found that interesting through the grad work, like studying Hollywood and symbolism. And then I started realizing, well, there's a lot of cults that are popping up, right? Like Hollywood has a lot of cults. a lot of directors, a lot of A-listers. They're tied into cults, and many of them are working for intelligence. Like they work for the CIA, they work for the FBI. Some of the most famous A-listers have been OSS operatives, FBI informants, and CIA operatives.
So, who likes to start cults?
Did you hear that?
No, say that again.
Said
OSS.
OSS.
Yeah, he said OSS. I'm sorry, I went blank. Who is that again?
Remember, it's the CIA before it was CIA.
Ah, yes.
The
Which
SS.
answers our question: who came in before the CIA and started a particular cult?
The Nazis.
Yes, but what was Napoleon Hill a part of? A cult. I don't remember the name of the cult, but it was a cult. Remember?
Oh, he was?
Yeah, I remember the New Thought, New Age guys. They were part of that cult in the 30s. Let's see. Let's look that up, shall
Oh, the
we?
Golden Circle?
Yeah, it was like the Golden Circle. Let's see. What was the cult Napoleon Hill was a part of? The Royal Fraternity of the Master Metaphysicians. Ignore the communist
nerdy
rhetoric.
Masons.
Yeah, a bunch of dirty Masons. It might have been the part of the Masons.
Bunch of nerdy freaking Masons. Man.
The Royal Fraternity of the Master Metaphysicians. And do we remember what happened to the leaders of the Royal Fraternity of the Master Metaphysicians?
They died.
They died! Murder, suicide in a car! Weird. And we asked during that episode, I wonder if there was a precursor to the CIA that might have started that cult. Well, if the OSS is that precursor, well, then there you go, because the CIA loves its cults. So, it's all coming together.
Mm-hmm.
So, hang on a minute. Let me find... I lost my place. Oh, no. Hang on, boys. I gotta find it again. You guys talk amongst yourselves. Here we go. No, I got it. We're good.
Amongst ourselves.
So
In Hollywood.
yeah, some of the most famous A-listers on record. It's declassified. So the third book has a whole chapter on people like Sterling Hayden. It was declassified that he was,
A-listers who are immersed in Hollywood
are spies.
are verified spies. For America, for our side,
Yeah,
or for okay, I was gonna say that would be really crazy.
Right. Well, the belief was that a couple of them were
Double
foreign spies.
agents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, for a long time, Marlene Dietrich was suspected of being a spy for Tiny Mustache Man.
And so how famous are these folks? Are these like Dwayne The Rock Johnson
these are
famous?
these are A-listers of that time, right? So
And they're verified spies.
well, she was suspected of being a
Okay.
Tiny Mustache Man spy.
Okay.
And so the FBI and the U.S. intelligence like investigated her and had her files on her. But it turns out she was actually trying to spy for the OSS, which is the CIA's predecessor in America.
Interesting.
Yeah. Sterling Hayden was a verified OSS agent, operative.
When you say verified, how verified are we talking?
No, he actually was an
like we can go to
spy.
CIA's
It's
website and it's
yes,
declassified.
Yeah. National Archives. Yeah. Declassified.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cary Grant was an informant. He spied on because they thought Errol Flynn was a Tiny Mustache Man spy. So they asked Cary Grant to like inform on people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now when you say spies, is it kind of like, hey, you're famous, so you get a knock on a door from the CIA, and when you go over to do this press tour, we want you to keep an eye on stuff? Or are they like CIA operatives who were trained?
Both.
Both.
It can be both. I think in Cary Grant's case, he was just asked to spy and inform. Jimmy Stewart, right? The most famous like A-lister of his time. He actually was like he worked for the FBI. He made FBI propaganda movies. You can go watch his FBI movies. In fact, Laurel Canyon, which is a famous movie studio, you drive up Wonderland Avenue on Mulholland Drive. You get to the top, and there's a giant Air Force studio that was like the preeminent studio of its time. I think I have it covered in the first chapter of the first book. All of the A-listers had Department of Defense badges that gave them access to this secret studio that the Air Force owned. So there's a clear connection right there. In fact, Marilyn Monroe had a badge, like a DoD badge. So a lot of these people are actually recruited to also do varying levels of spy work.
And so in that, it sounds like as there is the rise of the hippie revolution, the sex revolution, all this sort of stuff, it goes from, hey, we're just kind of fighting this Cold War, keeping an eye on our enemies, pushing American propaganda, to now there's this countercultural
And darker stuff.
is rising up. Would you say that was calculated and intentional, or would you say that all of a sudden the people who are the artists and the creatives are going down this in their own worldview,
Right.
and so it starts seeping into the media?
A degree of both. You can look at things like the Esalen Institute, which was pushing kind of the think tank behind the whole counterculture New Age movement of the 60s. And Esalen was promoted by very powerful, wealthy people. You can look it up. And they've had all the most famous kind of New Agey people go and speak there over the years. Deepak Chopra, Aldous Huxley. They've all promoted all that stuff from Esalen, which is, up Big Sur. If you just drive up Big Sur, there's a Esalen up there.
Yeah,
But
Deepak Chopra had like an office out here in
really?
Encinitas, I think. Yeah, he has a pretty big footprint here locally. Yeah.
So all that stuff was supported from the top down, but a lot of the people in that counterculture, maybe not the mainstream, but many of them were into that avant-garde, like satanic type stuff. Not so much LaVey, but more so Crowley, who was pretty serious about his Satanism. And he was a British spy too, by the way. Wow. He worked for MI5. And Crowley is kind of the forefather, not just of yoga in the West with Madame Blavatsky, but the sexual revolution. So the 60s counterculture stuff owes its ethos actually to Aleister Crowley, and many of the people in the 60s counterculture, like Dr. Tim Leary, who worked for the CIA on record, he called himself the new Aleister Crowley because his idea was we can really revolutionize the culture, not just through drugs, but also through sex. So sex and drugs. And so Hollywood played a key role in that in the 60s, and a lot of the counterculture people coming out of the Laurel Canyon scene were also directly connected to intelligence.
What was the most?
All right, so we're going to stop there. Moral of the story: CIA loves its cults. And
Crowley.
speaking of cult, Crowley, Crowley, and not so much LaVey, but Crowley. So let's see if I can find.
LaVey was a cheap knockoff of Crowley.
Yeah. So let's see if I can find.
Crowley wasn't nothing but a stupid little kid that tortured kittens.
For free.
For free. Who would pay for that?
He's just a fucking weirdo.
The
Always had me
answer:
on.
CIA.
Not saying
All right, let's see if I can find what I'm looking for. All right. Okay, so it's the gambler's fallacy. Let's see. You guys talk amongst yourselves while I try to find our transition.
Amongst
here.
yourselves.
Amongst yourselves.
Amongst us.
Trevor, have you ever done any Crowleyan magic?
No?
Me neither. I wouldn't suggest it.
I thought he liked kittens.
No, he killed him.
mustache, man. I'm not for
He wanted
Soviet
to see if
communism
they
at all.
actually had 9 lives.
They probably didn't. When he was sacrificing them to his little gods.
He's a weird guy.
These homes.
Book is about the agency's attitude.
It's not wanting me to look, so bear with me here. It's fighting me.
Crowley took a lot of the purple.
He did the purple, man.
He overdid the purple.
RFK sounds like he's overdoing the purple.
With his voice?
Yeah. My name is Robert F. Kennedy. Terrible.
This is not working. All right, hang on.
I made you cough.
The media, the state.
What are you
the
looking for?
self-help-
I am looking for Jay Dyer talking about the Madib. So we
What's
can
the
transition
Madib?
into the video about the Madid already. You know what? It's probably not that important, but I
Sounds
really
like something
wanted to
you'd
get
find in a
into it to make the
7-Eleven.
case, to make the connection. But it's not working with me. So, okay, it doesn't matter. Bottom line is we're talking about cults, secret societies. And at one point, Ruslan KD and Jay Dyer began talking about the Madid. And Jay Dyer explains the Mahdi was connected to the Arab Spring, which was funded by the CIA. And this guy was a major protester in that movement. And so it's almost like there's a connection between cults, the CIA, and the Starbucks Antichrist. So, with that set up, since I don't want to waste time continuing to click for it, let's go to the Mahdi's YouTube channel. Here we go. Let's see here.
Is this a CIA-run site? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying this dude's run by the CIA. I mean,
Nice.
this is the Muslim in a beanie, because apparently the beanie represents the working man. So let's see. I want to find one of his original sermons here.
Is that what little Tim's after?
He's after the Mahdi.
No, he's after the working man.
I don't know what he's thinking.
He's
Man.
like, look, guys, I have this beanie on. I've never taken it off my whole life. Like, I'm just here for the working man, okay?
Just here for the working man.
Oh,
Little,
is that,
little Tim.
is that Antichrist, dude?
Yeah, you're the one who showed this guy to me, and I did an episode on him last week.
Right.
But I didn't know anything about him, and so I was looking at this guy, going, "This dude is ridiculous." So we're gonna go to this video. This is what I started with last week, and yeah, we'll just kind of go through the rest of his little lecture here.
And of prophets to come, and know that there is a place in hell called Paul, and Muhammad, and Jesus, and Moses, and all of the prophets and messengers.
Okay, am I crazy? I know we're like 30 seconds in. The guy sounds like a Californian trying to sound like a Muslim. I'm telling you, it's like, he's even got that pretentious, it's not Muhammad, it's Muhammad, you know.
Yeah.
Come
Make
on.
sure you pronounce it right.
Yeah, Muhammad. Yeah, so anyway.
They all came
No,
with one
hey,
mission.
on that note, I want to say, Andrew Tate. I've been listening to Andrew Tate.
Okay.
He sounds like he had a speech impediment or a lisp as a kid, and he covers it up with that little Romanian accent thing he does sometimes.
Is that our next conspiracy theory?
That's my theory.
Okay. Conspiracy theory 107. Andrew Tate has what would you say, a lisp?
It's like a speech impediment.
Speech
or a lisp,
impediment,
or
a
something that
lisp.
He's,
Oh.
he's like he's masking it with that accent.
Okay. I can neither confirm nor deny. I have no idea. So,
Maybe he had his teeth worked on.
I mean, if I had a lisp, I'd probably do the same thing. It's not a lisp, it's an accent. I'm from Missouri.
I'm from Missouri.
And one message, and that is that God is one. And the worship of God comes through the acceptance and the obedience to the divinely appointed messenger in every.
What cult leader wouldn't be complete without a Dragon Ball Z aura hovering behind him?
I mean,
Just
it's
right
pretty
there,
sweet.
right? Oh yeah, he's about
Thinking
to go.
about painting one on my wall.
Yeah, he looks like he's about to go Super Saiyan 7 there.
Super Saiyan God. Yeah.
day and age. That's why Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever dies and doesn't know the Imam of his time dies the death of ignorance. And that's why the Quran said, and there has not been sent a single prophet or messenger except that they were to be obeyed. The divinely appointed messenger of this time is Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam, Muhammad ibn Hassan al-Askari alayhi salam. And I am a messenger from him.
I'm
at
telling you,
time.
this guy is not from
But
the
the Muslims
area.
don't
He does this stupid pronunciation, habada, you know, like he sounds like he's trying to sound ethnic, and then at the end of his sentence it tapers off with a lazy accent, like hada. Like he just kind of sighs it out, and his accent comes out at the end of the sentence. The dude's not from there. I'm telling you, they picked him up at a Starbucks.
Yeah, I think you're right.
This is crazy. Like, it's just, I don't know, man. It's like, maybe it is like an ink block test, and maybe I am just being all paranoid and stuff, but it's like once you see it, you can't unsee it. You know what I mean? Like everything just being kind of the same stupid setup over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I thought about this today. You can't be a prophet in your hometown.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I find, like, I've done, like, detailing videos or whatever before. It's like, I find it the easiest to make the video when I'm learning it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so it's like you're kind of like you're full of shit. Like you don't know how to do it yet,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you're you're making a video, so you got to keep that in mind. Like you can't be a prophet in your hometown.
Mm-hmm.
People wouldn't listen to somebody from their hometown, you know. So it's like this guy, because he's literally a Starbucks guy. He's easy to listen to for them.
He's in Egypt because they don't have a frame of reference for him. Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Well, I guess we can't really throw stones about it. I mean, half the time we're learning as we go on this podcast. I mean, there's sometimes we're researched up. I mean, we're not ignorant on everything. Just, about 50% of everything we have no clue what's going on. But this was a new and enlightening experience for me.
This guy sounds like he's well read, but I mean, you got to watch anybody that says that's why all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they think they know everything.
Well, if you don't believe me, I would just say listen to the end of his sentences. I swear, you're hearing his actual accent pick up at the end of the sentences. So, anyway.
Unfortunately, today have gone so astray and so far away from the essence of Islam. Indeed, like the Prophet said, the nations will soon summon one another to attack you, just as people invite others to share their dish. Someone asked, will it be because of our small numbers at that time? He replied, no, you will be numerous at that time, but you will be like the scum and foam carried by a torrent. Allah will remove the fear of you from the hearts of your enemies and will cast weakness into your hearts. Someone asked, O Messenger of Allah, what is this weakness? He, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said, love of the world and hatred of death. That's because you have abandoned.
And he sounds so disinterested. You know what I mean? Like, there's no passion in this guy's voice, like, at all. It's just, da 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 da. I mean, he's even looking off to the side. And for the record, I really hope the Arab nations don't trade out the turban for the sock cap. That would be a serious downgrade. But anyway.
He sounds so uninterested to be there.
Yeah, he sounds like he doesn't even want to be there. Which is amazing because that entire room is clearly meant for him. I mean, look at that giant, nice podium there. He's got the Dragon Ball Z graphic behind him. I mean, and...
Hey, Grandma, can we use your cool downstairs theater room to
act
like a bunch of cultists?
It's like the D&D nerds started a cult. Okay, so...
Yeah, he's probably at his grandma's house going... Hey guys, let's do this and see what happens.
Yeah.
And then it blew up, and so now he's just like, here we go again. I gotta repeat all this all over again. Da, 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 da.
Well, honestly, how many organic cults start out with a plaster bust in front of a podium? That's kind of ridiculous. But listen to the chanters, too. Like, even the chanters don't even sound all that interested. It's like, I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid. So, anyway.
Abandoned the successors of Muhammad and abandoned his will and listened to and obeyed your scholars. That's because you chose your own rulers and leaders instead of the rulers and leaders appointed by God, the 12 Imams and the 12 Mahdis.
Okay, just as a theater nerd who did theater for 10 years, I want to point something else out. Did you notice the guy shifting back and forth as he's standing behind the podium?
Maybe he's got anxiety, bro.
A director would beat the crap out of me if I did that. Like, that is a bored, uninterested actor. I'm telling you, that's insane. So, this guy, I swear, he's I don't know, an actor, a CIA actor. I don't know what else to call him. So.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a little energy now.
The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Come
Wait,
on.
what were they saying?
I don't care. A hal salami or something. So.
They're ordering their sandwich.
We are hungry. I want a sandwich.
Subway.
All right, let's listen to that again, though. We had a little bit of energy there, but I swear it was It was choreographed. Like, they all quit at the same time, and, like, he raised his arm, like, a half a second afterwards. But anyway, let's see. Let's see if I'm right.
Scholars. That's because you chose your own rulers and leaders instead of the rulers and leaders appointed by God, the 12 Imams and the 12 Mahdis.
Oh, never mind. He raised his hand first. They're hanging off his words. My bad.
They're appealing to the credulity of the so-called prophets that they say God picked out or whatever.
Yeah, but...
Or this guy's so good at editing, he just copied and pasted a whole bunch of people in that room and recorded the same voice over and over again.
I think that's it.
My money is these guys are all paid to be there, because if you listen to his words and his pitch, like, even if somebody's in a foreign language, like, before people start cheering, the guy usually crescendos and decrescendos. Like, a good orator is going to build up the tension in the speech, and then he's going to end on a high note, and then he's going to pause, and that's the cue for the audience to cheer, right?
Yeah.
This guy is talking in a monotone, and then for no apparent reason, they all start chanting in unison. But there was nothing particularly dramatic about what he said. That communicates to me this is choreographed.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, yeah, this dude is... CIA do better.
On his deathbed wrote a will. And he said, if you hold on to this will, you will never go astray. In the will, he names the names of the successors who are to inherit rulership and leadership of the Islamic Ummah after him. They are 12 Imams, starting with Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, and ending with Imam al-Mahdi Muhammad ibn al-Hasan al-Askari alayhi salam. And then there are 12 Mahdis. The first three are Abdullah, Ahmad, and al-Mahdi. Muslims, I am Abdullah, and I invite you to the obedience of the will of the Prophet Muhammad. It is only a man from the family of Muhammad who can bring peace to the Middle East. O Jews, Christians, and Muslims, hear
Peace to the Middle East. So much conviction there, you know, in a war-torn country or war-torn region. All right, I think I've had enough of him. I'm about to fall asleep listening to him. Good night. That is the most anticlimactic antichrist I've ever heard of. So...
Sure, we'll go back to Starbucks, guy.
Yeah, go back to Starbucks. You need more coffee, man. So
Did I hear him say something about Hitler?
I don't know. That might have been the foreign syllables. So, all right, we're done with this episode. So, any final thoughts?
Well done.
Nope.
All right.
Except for
I want salami. I want salami. Okay.
No salami, pepperoni.
And we're all racists. All right, so if you are still listening to the live stream, we've got one more to go, so stay with us. If you're listening to this after the fact, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Faith, Fiction, and Folklore. If you did, we would love it if you would subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Rumble. We can also be found on X, Instagram, and Facebook. And we are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Thank you again very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.